One of the things that I admire the most in people is their vulnerability. So their capacity to become vulnerable around other people and the capacity they have to be the first one to become vulnerable. And by being vulnerable, I don't mean that you should talk to every stranger you see in the street and tell them about your biggest mistakes and fears in life. That's not the kind of vulnerability that I stand up for. It's the kind of vulnerability that should naturally come in a relationship, and whatever relationship that is, doesn't have to be just a romantic relationship. That comes between people who know each other and who start talking to each other and connecting more. And if you think about it, there always has to be the one person in the relationship that takes the first step. Like very rarely the two people will open up at the same time, only if they agree to it. But in not the most cases, one person decides to become vulnerable and they take that risk, expecting that the other person will become vulnerable too, but there's a risk they won't, and there's a risk your heart will be broken. The ability that some people have to just open up and put themselves out there, I think that's really beautiful, and I think we're kind of losing that as time passes by. Because our society has associated being nonchalant with being cool. If you don't share your feelings with anyone, and if you don't let your guard down at any moment of your life, you're so cool, like you're doing fine. People think you are mysterious, and people are attracted to you not in the romantic way, but people like to connect with you because you're nonchalant. And for me, it's just the opposite. In my case, when I have connected with people that I follow on the internet, for example, I follow them because of their vulnerability. And this is gonna become cheesy, I know, but there's this quote that says you should be the change you want to see in the world. And I was just thinking lately that I want to see people being vulnerable on the internet, like sharing what they really think and who they really are. And I was just like, why don't I do that? Like, this is so weird of me to want other people to do it, and I don't do it myself. So this is my attempt to do it. Anyhow, going back to the subject. There are two types of people. There are the people who always have walls around them, and they drop their walls once they feel safe and once they actively decide to do so. And there are people like me who walk without any walls, like their guard is already down, and they have to have their heart broken, or they have to something has to go wrong for these people to build walls around them. I think there are both pros and cons to these two types of people. For example, if you're just like me, because you have your guard down at all times and you are open to being vulnerable and getting your heart broken, you have more chances of getting meaningful connections in life. It's kind of like a math problem. If you have a box full of different colored balls and you have 20 yellow balls and 5 red balls, there's a bigger probability that if you take a ball out of the box randomly, you get a yellow ball. So if you have your guard down at all times, there's a bigger chance that one of these connections will eventually work out and you will end up being corresponded. But on the other hand, there is also a huge chance of getting your heart broken and this connection thing failing completely, because most people are the first option. They have their walls built up and they only tear them down when they feel safe to do so. But I was thinking that we cannot really choose what type of people we want to be. Sure, you can work out, and I am trying to work out some stuff. I do like telling everybody about everything. That's something I truly need to fix, and I understand that I can do that. It's not that I will become a totally nonchalant person tomorrow. I won't. I am certain of that. But I am certain that I can learn how to be more closed up a little bit. I don't have to share everything to everyone. And that's something that is kind of gonna be good for me, because sometimes I overshare. Some people say that it's better to regret what you did than what you didn't do, but I end up regretting a lot of the things I do. So I'm guessing I'm just gonna try for a few months what it would be like to regret things I didn't do. Let's see how it goes, and I'll keep you guys posted. That's something I guess we need to normalize. But I'm not saying in a way that I am perfect at this. I'm totally not. What I mean that I have my guard down at all times, it's not that I share everything with everyone. I have some limitations too. And there's a quote I read from Shakespeare a few days ago that said that there's no love that is not at first sight. And again, this doesn't apply only to romantic love. I like to interpret this quote as a sort of connection between human beings. For me, it has always been like this. I can either connect with someone the first time I meet them, or I don't. And if I don't connect with someone the first time I meet them, it won't happen. No matter how hard I try or how daily we interact with each other, it won't happen. For me, it's always been like this, and I'm still trying to figure out what that is. And sure, when I mean the first time we interact, it's not the first time like we see each other across the hall and no, that's not it. It has to be a real interaction. So for example, if I meet someone on my first day of school, but the only interaction we have is like, hi, and that's all. Like, I don't consider that the interaction that is gonna define whether or not I connect with that person. I need one more, like one real interaction, like a conversation, like something needs to happen, not just hi. And that's why we don't connect or like dislike or just feel something about strangers we see in the street, because we just look at them and pass by. So we don't have time to build an opinion about them. And if we did have the time to build a connection with every single person we meet in life, we would have many more opportunities to connect and many more opportunities to get our hearts broken. And that's part of the whole life experience. So I guess this was just a messy reflection on how I like vulnerable people, and I'm trying to be vulnerable in order to be what I want to see in the world. All the YouTubers and the activists that have inspired me so far are the ones who opened up and just said real things. They become real, you know. They don't act it as something they were not. They just spoke like who they really were. And I want to be like that, because I think that really matters in a world where everybody's trying to become something or pretend something they're not. Being real and like just bring real, whatever risks that might bring you. It's so important and it's so brave. And I'm not perfect at that, and I don't expect to be perfect, but these videos are my attempts to do that. So I'll see you in the next one with another reflection. Bye.